My 11 Circle presents Cricbuzz Live in association with the Weather Channel. The weather's had a big part to play, and that means, as we wish all of you a very happy Independence Day, there's half the game still to be played. It's getting to be now about 10 past 1 in the morning. The West Indies have finished their 35 overs, 240 for 7. The corrected Duckworth-Lewis-Stern target will be a little higher. We'll give it to you as soon as we have it. It's a strange, bizarre kind of innings, this. You look at those three names there, Gale, Lewis, Puran, and you'll think, wow, the West Indies probably made 500. But it's just that the rest of the batsmen scored nowhere near that rate. Just to put things in perspective, 240 in 35 overs. There was a 5.5 over phase when the West Indies made 100. On either side of that, there wasn't a lot happening. Look at, other than 26 to 35, where Nicholas Puran made 30 or 15 and contributed in a big way. Look at the scoring rates. Now, was that 16.83 independent of the surface? Is the surface a sort of maybe not 3.254, but a 5.6 kind of surface? What do you think? Aakash Chopra, Zaheer Khan. First of all, before I come to the target is 255, I think.
255.
From 35.
That means his prediction was spot on.
Yeah.
259.
I was waiting for Harsha to actually like.
No, but actual runs scored, he got it right.
Yeah.
Or close to that.
Yeah.
You had said 230, right?
Yeah. So 255 will be the
Revised target.
Will be the revised target in 35 overs. That's 35 to 70, 210, 6, about 7 and over. Yeah.
Oh, well, when you look at that innings, there are three people that we mentioned. I don't know whether there is any correlation with regards to all of them being left-handers. Ball coming into them more often than not, and then they're smashing it out of the park. The middle overs, even when the ball started gripping a lot more, that's what I felt actually after that rain break, the extended rain break, when Jadeja came into bowl, it was almost impossible for right-handers to get him away. But it was relatively easier for Nicholas Puran because the ball was spinning into him and he was able to dispatch them for sixes.
5 overs 26 was 1 over in which Nicholas Puran went after him. Otherwise, Zach, the ball was turning, gripping. There's 1 over he bowled to Carlos Brathwaite where the bat was irrelevant.
But it didn't start like that. I think, start of play, you actually felt that the wicket is really good.
Correct.
The ball is coming onto the bat nicely.
And
you've seen those 5-6 overs as well when Evan Lewis and Chris Gale were also going very strong. So looking at that, suddenly the wicket changed. Maybe it has to do with wicket has been undercover for the longest time. Something weather also had played its part. But right now, it looks like the surface has slowed down. So even the seamers will have some kind of purchase from this wicket for sure in terms of getting those into the wicket slow ones going. Unless the ball, the seam gets wet and it plays otherwise, maybe till the time ball is nice and hard. But otherwise, I think they will this total, whatever it may be, will be very tough for Indian batsmen to get, looking at the kind of conditions we have seen with Jadeja turning it sharply, and usually Ravindra is a kind of a bowler who bowls quick through the air, and when a bowler like that starts turning the ball, that means there is enough purchase in the wicket.
Let's take a look at the bowling since we are talking about it. There's one interesting thing that hits you straight away, which is that Bhuvneshwar Kumar didn't bowl his quota of 7. Now, here's something to think about. The West Indies will get rewarded.
Correct.
For the fact that they started off playing a 50-over game. Can the bowling captain say, I planned my bowling assuming that it's going to be a 50-over game, and suddenly I found I've only got 1 over of Chahal left?
Which is correct. Yes, that's how it actually pans out if there is rain interruption while you're bowling first or bowling second. For if you don't know whether the game is going to be now truncated, as it is the case now, and we had not just 1 but 2 rain breaks. So yes, your planning can actually go a little haywire, but just think about the West Indies. We discussed this, that they are slightly lighter on the bowling department. They don't have the same kind of penetration, but now their weaker bowlers have to bowl 3 overs fewer. So you don't actually, so Carlos Brathwaite doesn't have to finish his quota of 10 overs, and so can be the case with the Jason Holder. So they can get away with this bowling lineup on a pitch that has slowed down further. Roston Chase, Kemar, rather Fabian Allen, they should have a bigger role to play. And Kemo Paul, if the ball is gripping the surface, I think 255 is a fairly stiff target for Team India to chase it down.
Something very interesting happened when the West Indies were batting. Chris Gayle was hitting the ball on the rise as if the ball was only meant to hit the middle of his bat. And then he hit the ball straight to Kohli, was walking off, drinks were called. And the next thing you know is every Indian's running up to him to shake hands. So obviously he must have said something while the drinks were being taken, saying, goodbye guys, that was it, or I don't know what it was.
Well, all the actions were indicating of the fact that maybe this was
his last,
his last innings, and that's something someone must have asked during the drinks break. And he's Chris Gayle, being Chris Gayle, is very candid about things and very open about things. So I'm sure he must have mentioned something on those lines, because there was a talk around that, and now he's crossed those few milestones which he was close to. So I think it's pretty much clear. We'll still have to wait and wait for the official announcement.
Because
of it.
there was an
but looks
official
like this was the last innings.
Yeah, there was an official announcement, then it was taken back, then he's played again. So it's a bit Afridi-esque.
I was waiting for the name to come up actually, so you did the honors.
A person's allowed to change his mind.
Yeah, that's all right. But
he played well. If indeed it was his final innings, Akash, then he's played his final innings in the manner you remember him.
That's what we were discussing even while watching him play. That you don't mind this being his last innings, because 41 balls, 72 runs. Chris Gayle has always been remembered or seen as the guy who provided entertainment. And this innings was exactly that. 8 fours, 5 sixes, full of entertainment. And also the fact that that defined Chris Gayle, that he terrorized bowlers, where bowlers actually felt that I missed the mark and it's definitely going out of the park. And that's the kind of terror a lot of batsmen haven't been able to impose on the bowlers, even though they've scored perhaps more runs than Chris Gayle. But he was one of his kind, and he's played in his own inimitable style.
In that period, 33 balls produced 100. When him and Evan Lewis were batting, 33 balls produced 100. They say about RCB fans say that if you walk around Cubbon Park today, you might still find some of the balls that Chris Gayle hit there when he was playing.
I've witnessed that actually closely.
Yeah.
And he had his way about going about doing things. So he's actually very serious about his game. But you'll see a lighter side more often than not.
Has to be serious for
someone. But with Chris Gayle, there was this phase, right, when he used to leave the deliveries, he used to say, oh, he's watching the ball closely today and it's going to be a tough day. And there used to be days when he used to go and start hitting the ball from word go. There used to be talk that, okay, it's going to be a very bad day because he's decided he's not going to take his time. So, he was that sort of a player, I think, and clearly by miles ahead of everyone in that T20 format. He has really made a huge impact on the game in that format. His numbers are unmatchable. I think it's going to take a hell of an effort for anyone to come close to. I mean, the number of hundreds he has scored in that short format. You see the averages and everything was actually moving away once the T20 format has taken over the world, and he's someone who has actually kept at it as if he's playing ODIs.
And for some of you might have seen Chris Gayle, who were quite young, who've seen Chris Gayle recently, 2 Test triple hundreds, still the only player to have got a Test triple, a one-day double, and a T20 100. So that is fantastic record. So if indeed it is goodbye from one-day internationals to Chris Gayle, well played. We look forward to seeing you in the IPL. Come and score. Come and have a lot of fun here in the IPL. Now it's also Independence Day. It's time to look back. India started in 1932. First tour after independence was to Australia in 47-48, which was the first tour post-partition. So a lot of players who were regulars didn't go on that tour of Australia. So it's a good time to ask these younger gentlemen next to me what their defining moments are. Batsman go first.
Well, if you want,
we'll pick one each.
Okay, so I'll pick the Test matches. 2001, the Test match at the Eden Gardens, India versus Australia. Australia were on a roll, 16 Test match wins on the bounce, defeated India at the Wankhede Stadium comprehensively. And then what happened in Kolkata, it changed everything as far as I'm concerned, as far as actually Indian Test cricket is concerned as well, because it just started a new era of Indian Test cricket. 171 following on, and then not losing a wicket on when you've been asked to follow on the entire day of play.
It must have been a great Test match. If 180 not out doesn't figure in there, it's probably one of the more, because VVS made 281. Correct. Still say one of the greatest Test match innings of all time. What about Harbhajan Singh?
A hat trick.
Came and
Hat-trick,
took
yes,
came and took a hat trick. Finished with 32 wickets in that series. It was a great series.
This was the best series as far as I'm concerned. The series that I have watched. 2005 Ashes will come close, but this series was just a defining moment. And VVS Lakshman, just before this Test match, what he went through. He couldn't walk straight. He couldn't stand straight.
Yeah.
So for someone who who had tears in his eyes before the Test match, actually was on the eve of the Test match.
Didn't Rahul was just recovering from viral fever?
That's
Something like that.
So both of them were on drips end of that day. It was hot and humid in Kolkata around that time, and Lakshman was actually doubtful for the Test match. When the Test match started, and he went through that. He took the call of playing that Test match, following on behind in the game, and then from there to come back the way and to win the match was something really special, and it was great to be part of the team around that time, and VVS was certainly very, very special in that game.
What was your one defining moment? I mean,
So for me, personally, the playing the game and the whole process of contributing to success of the team was what was at the top for me always. So I've picked actually the Test match which I was part of, Trent Bridge in England in 2007. A lot was expected of me, and then to play that series, and I still remember at Lord's, the first Test match, I was actually not in a great rhythm, and then it started falling in place. Having played that county, it was good to be part of this Test match to make such an impact. I think personally for me, this series, this Test match was right up there in terms of
you've moved on from jelly beans to biscuits, I noticed.
Success.
I was going to ask about the jelly beans.
Yeah, it was a great Test match. I was there, and I remember I hadn't seen anybody, Akash, till that point as well go round the wicket to the right-hander
And take the
and
ball.
get the ball to leave and hit the top of off stump.
was
Which you did a couple of times in that Test match. It was you and RP also
RP,
bowling at the other, right?
Yes.
RP had a good Test
RP
match.
and
So that was your.
Srishant was also
Srishant
there.
was there
So all
that
three of
was-
us were having a
yeah.
good run through and through the series. So it was great.
Now we also asked them for the favorite ODIs. Akash, of course, went 1983.
Yes.
Zach went 2011.
I was just 6
Two
years
lines
old.
on 83.
See, I started
It was
playing
6. You
cricket.
don't have to rub it in.
So I was 6 years old, and I started playing cricket because
Such a child.
Kapil Dev actually lifted the trophy on the balcony of the Lord's Cricket Ground, and this was what dreams were made of. India winning the World Cup, complete underdogs. West Indies, not just the defending champions, 75, 79, 2 World Cup victories, and here they started as ranked favourites. India came out, won the tournament, and it changed the way India perceived cricket from there onwards. So I was not just the only one, I'm pretty sure.
We could, between us, we could talk about those two forever. We'll get a quick one from Zach because the game's just started and Rohit hit the first ball for 4.
Oh, it started again.
2011.
2011. yes.
Incredible. I mean, you ask
83,
someone
I was too young. I don't remember any of it.
Okay,
It was only 5.5.
just to put things in perspective, I'd done an article just before that 83 World Cup saying India could be the dark horses.
Okay, Harsha, getting along, are we?
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, so,
5.5
so
year old
11, of course, was such a such a special tournament, playing in front of home crowd and achieving that victory after 83. So every time you talk about World Cup, it was the talk of 83 and what Team India has done. We went in as one of the favorites for 2011 World Cup, and once again, to be part of the journey of winning a tournament is something always special.
Right, so there you go. That was Aakash Chopra, Zaheer Khan with their memories. Happy Independence Day to all of you. Come up with your memories as well. Tell us on hashtag Cricbuzz Live, what was your favorite one-day white ball win, your favorite red ball win? I guess if we say white ball, it includes the World T20. So let's go ODIs as well. And so there you are. Meanwhile, Rohit Sharma's hit the first 2 balls for 4. And by the way, can you just put the camera back a little bit? I want to show that I'm sitting on...
On a throne.
There you go, that's right. I just about got it, but they cheated. Because that is what I said India would make in 50 overs of West Indies, rather they made them in 35. Anyway, quick expert couch.
Wow, okay. So this
255 to get in 35 overs.
could be West Indies.
Okay.
I think it's tilting in favor of West Indies.
Since
Sorry.
Plain and simple. Yeah.
Since my Tukas are winning, I'm saying India.
All right, then go for
Okay,
it.
there you go. Let's go, Cross. We'll be back with you after 15 overs on Cricbuzz Combox.